A good course for ADHD, it doesn't try to turn you into someone you're not, but helps you to know yourself and take advantage of your strengths so that you can then move forward in life with maximum potential. I invite you to check out the ADHD Club in action at the first link in the description. Hello everyone, I'm Yuri Maya from ADHD Uncomplicated, and in this video, I'm going to talk to parents. You parents with children who have ADHD, whether they're kids or teenagers, who are struggling to help your kids succeed in school or improve their behavior, and you don't really know what to do. You've already seen some techniques out there, the psychologist. Sometimes they've even shared some alternatives for you to apply at home, but for some reason, it just doesn't work. You try one thing, a reward, it just doesn't pay off. And then you see that your child isn't engaging. But what's really going on? Is ADHD really that strong that it makes my child simply unable to engage? Don't worry, I'm going to tell you what you need to do to help your child improve, especially in school and in their behavior, so that your child can develop much more, especially in school and in their behavior as well. And for those who are just joining us, my name is Yuri Maya, I have ADHD, and I have a postgraduate degree in neuropsychology and learning disorders. And here at ADHD Uncomplicated, you'll understand everything about the disorder in a very straightforward way. Didactic, based on scientific grounding, and created by someone who has ADHD and experiences it firsthand even today. As I was saying, many parents turn to the internet to find ways to try to help their children, applying some techniques that don't always work, and you end up not understanding why. The main ingredient that's missing is parents understanding their children's individual needs. Ah, Yuri, but that's really obvious. It's not that obvious because it's not just about addressing what you see, but it's mainly about understanding and trying to address what goes beyond what you can see, what the child often doesn't share because of what they're going through. A difficulty that for her can even be embarrassing is telling her own parents. So issues like gaining the trust of the parents. Create a routine so that he or she can open up to you, which can get a bit tougher during the teenage years. So there needs to be a closer effort, but understand that the purpose of this video is for you to truly understand your children's mindset. First of all, parents need to be good listeners and good observers of their children. It's not enough to just take them to school, bring them back from school, or observe them from a distance while they're sitting on the couch with the tablet. He must be playing with his friends. Not always. Many times he's spending a lot of time on a game, sometimes on an offline game, so to speak, because he's being left out. For example, from your social environment, he's having difficulty socializing. This is quite common in ADHD. It's scientifically proven that children with ADHD generally don't get along well with their peers, and there are several reasons for that. Okay, one of them is the issue of our impulsivity. We don't have a very good filter when it comes to speaking, expressing ourselves, or acting. We end up also dealing with low frustration tolerance. We end up creating our own rules. During playtime, we tend to interrupt each other's turn anyway. So the tendency is that throughout childhood and adolescence, due to difficulty in controlling our impulses, we end up having inappropriate behaviors that sometimes end up pushing other kids away. And not just that. It doesn't just stay within the realm of our behavior when interacting, but also in the aspect of giving and receiving in that exchange that exists. Right. We receive much more than we give to others. We have difficulty giving our time, paying attention, and diving into other people's topics. I still have a lot of difficulty even today, in adulthood, in diving into group topics, for example. So if I'm talking to someone, I can actually pay attention pretty well. Now, if there's a discussion circle and many people are giving their opinions at the same time, I really get lost easily and disconnect from the conversation. So this usually happens with children and teenagers. Now, I have my techniques. Today I know that I can't just show up at a social event and stay quiet, minding my own business, looking at my phone. If that happens, what will happen? No one will call me. The thing is, children and teenagers don't have the same grasp, the same interpretation that adults do. And that's why parents need to observe, even to know how to guide. During my childhood and adolescence, my mom didn't really notice this. I lived with my mom. For those who don't know, I'm the child of divorced parents. So I spent over 90% of my life with my mom, and she didn't notice this situation. She could even notice that I had few friends, but not enough for her to intervene to ask. She wasn't very interested in that, and that was a big loss for me. It was a big loss for me because this kind of social training is really important for a child to overcome that natural difficulty. And you might be wondering, okay, Yuri, I get this social aspect, but how does this relate to the actual education of the child? It has a lot to do with it. It has to do mainly with the fact that a child who is in a situation of exclusion, a child who is in a situation of little support, in the school where she is a child who will be more anxious, She is a child who will be more worried. She is a child who will feel out of place, will feel bad because she was bullied. Today she was bullied, yesterday, last week, and now I ask, like a child whose psychology is not in good shape. Well adjusted, they will be able to study, they will be able to, in their free time, pick up a book, study, prepare for a test. It just won't happen. Especially because our anxiety is already well above average. So, think of it like a snowball. The more ADHD is acting up, the less that child is able to socialize, and the less they socialize, the greater the anxiety, and the less they can study outside. The natural issue of ADHD, our natural difficulty, which you already know how it is. At the time, my mom transferred me to a different school. She took me out of a big traditional school here in Brasilia and put me in a small school. I went from a class of 35 students to a class of 16 or 17 students. Besides that, the dynamics were different in that school. We had more inclusion, we had computer classes, and that back in 1992 was very rare. In fact, we even had a gardening class where we would plant some vegetables to later harvest and eat during our community snack. Those 3 years I spent there, I only left because we moved to a neighborhood that was very far away. They were the best 3 years of my childhood, actually. Many of those classmates have become my friends to this day, and I don't even remember the other friends who were from my previous school. From the bigger school, I don't even remember their names, just to give you an idea, so I didn't form any bonds. Now, in that small school, I formed strong connections, I learned better, the teacher had a different perspective. So all of this helped so that I could improve my social skills and also deliver much more in my studies. So, you should pay attention. Notice how he verbalizes to you what happens in the classroom. Ask about the classmates, but don't just ask like that. Ah, where's that buddy you like the most? No. Ask how the class was. Ask if there's a classmate who usually helps him in the classroom, who he hangs out with during recess. What he likes to do, what his classmates like to do. Naturally, you'll be picking up on these topics. And then, of course, it's important for you to observe from a distance what he does to see if it contradicts what he says. Remember that you should pay attention to what is actually happening. The facts are what will really tell you what might be happening with your child. Sometimes he might be overlooked in social situations, but he doesn't tell you. Sometimes he might be going through a bullying situation where he ends up humiliating himself in friendships. Just so he doesn't feel left out of the group, excluded from the class. And an important way to get around that is to apply social training. Social training, folks, is essential. If your child isn't very well integrated in the school environment and you can't do much to help at that moment, open the range of environments. Try to show him some kind of hobby. For example, karate, scouting, so he can have contact with other kids his age. Be consistent and persistent in maintaining that contact. I know that many of you might try for 1 or 2 days and say something like, Yuri, I give up because he doesn't want to open up to me. Calm down. It's not that. It has to be a process of trust so that he can open up to you every day. You need to do this little by little, working on earning his or her trust over the days. Got it. This won't happen overnight. And parents of kids with ADHD, this tip doesn't cover everything, okay? There's a lot more to do, to observe. And how are you going to act? What are you going to do from the moment you have it? Some of this data collected through observing your child. And there in the program, My ADHD, which is my mentoring program, where I and a team of psychologists, every week, we're listening to you in our live group meetings with the camera on, where I can hear your story and guide you through your situation with your child who has ADHD. To learn more about the program, click the link in the description and don't forget to leave your comment. Also asking for suggestions. What would you like to see? What important topic would you like to see here on ADHD? Uncomplicated. Leave it in the comments, share your suggestion, and also share this video a lot. Thank you very much, a hug, and see you next time. So ADHD, just like you, I also had a lot of trouble maintaining relationships. To make matters worse, I didn't know why they always went wrong. I changed the game, and today I'm married and have a great relationship. I took all this knowledge and put it into the ADHD in Action Club for a very affordable price. Check it out in the first link in the description.